Fluids flow away from points of higher pressure toward points of lower pressure. So let's take an example or two. Here's a water tower and perhaps a home, and the two are connected with some sort of piping system that pipes water from the water tower to the faucet. Notice that the level of water in the tower is much higher than that of the faucet initially. And at first, when the faucet is off, the pressure on the left here and the pressure down here on the right are the same, because they are at the same depth below this surface here with the water tower. When the faucet is turned on, we in effect have a difference in heights. On the right, H2 is much smaller than H1, which means the gauge pressure down here on the left will be much higher than the gauge pressure on the right. So on the right you can see, watch this, the pressure decreases, which means we're going to get flow in that direction, and water is going to flow right out of the faucet. When we turn the faucet off, then what happens is that pressure by the faucet builds up again so that it's equal to the pressure below the water tower, and the flow stops. On this slide we see that the pressure at a particular faucet in a city depends on the difference between the height of water in the tower and the elevation of the faucet. A faucet in the basement delivers water with more force than one on the top floor of a building. Buildings that are taller than the water tower require pumps to move water to the upper floors of the building. Your heart muscles move the walls of your heart, changing the volume of the various heart cavities. When volume goes up, pressure goes down, and blood flows in. When volume goes down, pressure goes up, and blood flows out. How a straw works. We've got a straw here in a drink, and we've got the atmosphere pushing down equally on all surfaces. Well, then what happens is you put your mouth on the straw, and what you end up doing is whenever you make a sucking motion, you end up expanding the volume of your oral cavity. And when you expand the volume, the pressure in there goes down. So you can see here that the air pressure initially, check out these little arrows inside the straw, when you expand the size of the oral cavity, that pressure will drop. Watch this. See? Now you have a low pressure here and a higher pressure on the outside, and that is going to force liquid right up the straw. Let's summarize. The pressure at a given depth in a liquid is exerted equally in every direction and perpendicular to any surface. Fluids flow from higher pressure regions toward lower pressure regions. Dams, water towers, the pumping of blood through the heart are examples that show fluid pressure effects.